Well, welcome everybody. It is a rare thing indeed to have people that are not staff in our council chambers for work sessions. So it's really wonderful to see you all. Appreciate that you're taking the time. I imagine that you are all here for the presentation on the youth roadmap report. And I'm looking forward to it as much as I think and would assume that most of you are. We are going to start with the clerk calling the roll. Come on in and we will get this is amazing. Welcome, everybody. We'll get some more chairs out for folks. It's really great to have you. We're just starting to take the roll now, so we'll take the roll.
Corliss.
Here.
Halliburton.
Here.
Morales.
Here.
Nash. Stead.
Here.
Willits. 4 present, 2 absent.
Thank you. Both Garrett Lamb and Lauren Phelps from Garrett's in my office, Lauren from the city. Oh, no, Lauren's in. No, you are. Jimmy just told me that you're coming up too, Lauren. So Lauren has worked on this quite a bit as well. Will now join us to do the presentation. I hope on your way in you were able to pick this up. If not, you can step out and grab one now or at the end. And Garrett, go ahead. Welcome. It doesn't seem like it.
Madam Mayor.
Yep, there we go.
City Council. Thank you all, and thank you audience members for coming and for being a part of this initiative. I'm excited to share the findings. First, I'll hand it over to Councilmember Jimmy Halliburton to share a few words at the top, and then I'll dive into the findings.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Garrett, and thank you for everyone that's here today. I was looking around, and I think that about half of my favorite people in Boise are in this room right now. And I have to say half because if they're not here, they might be offended. But yeah, some of the hardest working folks, our nonprofit sector, our city staff, our community partners, the school district. It's so wonderful to have you in this room right now. I think it is a testament to how important of an issue this is and how much people care and really how much work has already been done. Just to kind of give a quick history and then a way to look at some of the things that we'll be talking about. This really originated as a city council initiative through funds. So our city council approved funding for us to explore a plan to make sure that Boise continues to be a great place for youth for generations to come, also while addressing gaps that maybe are existing out there and unique problems that youth are facing. As we read through the plan today and we go over all this, I would encourage everybody, including our council and our staff, to kind of look at this maybe in 3 different ways. And the first one that I would maybe say is most important is to look at this as a lens in which we do everything that we are doing at the city. So I kind of compare this to our climate action plan, where whether we're building a building or we're looking at a development or we're approving a budget, we're always looking at through a climate lens. How can we make sure that we're doing our work well, but also addressing climate issues at the same time? This is really no different. This is a lens and an opportunity for us to look at everything that we're doing at a city level and at a community level through the lens of how are we empowering youth in our community to grow, thrive, and ultimately contribute to shaping the future of what Boise is. The second thing I would encourage people to look at it as an opportunity for long-term thinking, long-term plans that we can start working on today. So while some of the things maybe in the plan aren't going to be accomplished tomorrow, the road can start today on working towards some of these long-term goals to address some of the needs that we see in our community. And the last part that I would encourage everybody to look at it as an opportunity for collaboration and partnership. It is impossible for the city of Boise to accomplish everything that's listed in this plan on our own, but it's an incredible opportunity for nonprofits, community partners to get involved so that we can be working on all these things together. So as Garrett goes through and Lauren goes through as well, if she does, those are the 3 things. A lens, a new lens that we look at through everything that we do in our city through a youth lens, long-term planning with actionable items that we can start working on today, and that opportunity for collaboration. And then before the last thing I would just want to say is thank you to every single person who's been involved in this process so far. There have been so many people from the folks who've been doing that deep dive working with us from the beginning, to our different community partners, to every single one of our staff members. And again, I'm going to call out Garrett and Lauren, who really did the heaviest lifting of our staff to get this as where today. So thank you. And I'm excited for the presentation.
Thank you. So as I previewed with you in March, the City of Boise Youth Roadmap is a strategic initiative designed to understand the experiences, needs, and aspirations of Boise's youth by listening to the perspectives of teens, parents, city departments, and community stakeholders. Two, we wanted to evaluate the effectiveness and accessibility of current youth services. And three, we wanted to develop strategic recommendations, not just for city, but for city partners, recommendations and policy improvements that strengthen youth participation and well-being. These recommendations serve as a shared vision and a long-term strategy for supporting Boise's next generation. So a little bit of the methodology. This spring and summer, we use multiple research methods to capture both big picture and more nuanced details of youth experiences in Boise. We surveyed 269 youth aged 12 to 20, as well as 717 parents and guardians across the city. We collected responses from every zip code in Boise, recognizing that experiences vary depending on neighborhood. And numbers can only tell part of the story. So to understand the nuanced experience behind the stats, we conducted 8 focus groups, 4 with youth and 4 with parents. We spoke to 30 youth and 26 parents in these discussions, and some of those individuals are joining us here today. We also conducted 46 in-depth interviews with community leaders, service providers, and organizations that work directly with youth. This included representatives from City of Boise departments, healthcare systems, schools, mental health providers, recreation programs, and community organizations. And alongside surveys, focus groups, and interviews, we reviewed existing data sources to better understand the broader context of youth well-being. This included national, state, and local reports on mental health, education, housing, safety, recreation, etc. I want to thank the city staff who participated in this, community partner leaders, focus group participants, and our research partners, Rathbone Falvey Research, who helped create this roadmap. So the findings in this report and the recommendation revolve around 3 identified need areas, one being youth well-being, creating a safe and healthy city for all by ensuring all Boise youth have access to prevention, early intervention, and recovery supports that promote mental well-being. The second bucket is activities and opportunities, creating opportunities for all by expanding access to youth enrichment, recreation, arts, social connection, and workforce development programs across Boise. And then infrastructure, creating movement and connection for all by improving transportation, neighborhood amenities, and third spaces so that every young person can safely and reliably reach programs, services, and supportive environments. So I'm going to dive a little deeper into each of those key findings and then the recommendations for both city and community partners. So it's probably no surprise that Boise's youth face significant mental health challenges, with only a third reporting feeling mentally healthy each day, and academic pressure emerging as a major stressor. While the city and its partners offer strong mental wellness promotion and crisis prevention, gaps remain in early intervention, coordination, and access to clinical care. Parents in our focus groups and surveys identify mental health provider shortages, cost, insurance barriers, and long wait times as key obstacles, even as data shows rising needs and stark outcomes, including 16 youth suicide deaths in Ada County in 2023. And when mental health concerns escalate, many families struggle to navigate a system that has limited capacity, long wait times, and financial hurdles. Youth clearly express a desire for more accessible support where they already spend time, especially in schools, with strong interest in trauma-informed counselors, peer support spaces, and opportunities for open dialogue about mental health. Recovery, which focuses on sustaining wellness after treatment, is also a priority for teens who value peer networks and trusted adults and meaningful opportunities to contribute in their community as part of long-term recovery and healing. And then there are broader well-being factors that we all know and understand, such as stable housing, community belonging, cultural safety. Those all shape youth outcomes. Many young people experiencing homelessness lack shelter. Many LGBTQ youth, refugee youth, and youth who experience exclusion face disproportionate mental health risks. And together, these findings highlight the need for more coordinated, youth-centered systems that strengthen every part of the continuum of care, promotion, prevention, treatment, and recovery, while ensuring all young people feel safe, supported, and connected in Boise. So what do we do about it? Recommendations. So these are bucketed in a few different ways. The first being promotion and prevention. So upstream youth wellness. What can the city of Boise and community partners do? We can expand youth-facing prevention programs such as calming spaces, peer support groups, and skill building that address root causes of stress. Support parent education initiatives to help families better understand and support youth mental health. When we asked young people, what's the biggest barrier in terms of education about youth mental health, they said, our parents don't know anything about youth mental health. So more parent education initiatives. And we want to expand access to activities and opportunities that foster youth well-being. Downstream, as far as treatment and recovery is concerned, looking to our community partners, we need to expand access to mental health treatment by addressing provider shortages, wait times, cost barriers, and navigation challenges. We need to expand crisis intervention and response capacity, and we need to continue to strengthen school-based mental health and wellness infrastructure. I'm going to nod to the Boise School District and the Boise Public Schools Foundation leadership, Lisa Roberts. They're all moving in the right direction. They're doing a great job tracking youth wellness trends and participation with Communities for Youth, promoting youth mental health through Hope Squads, expanding mental health support by adding more social workers and counselors, and the district as well as the foundation have identified student wellness initiatives as a key strategic priority. So grateful for their work. Accessing resources. City of Boise and community partners should support the development of communication initiatives to strengthen awareness of available resources, establish geographic standards to ensure distribution of youth programs and third spaces across neighborhoods, support low or no-cost programs in high-demand areas, and amplify the work of care navigation services. The second group is activities and opportunities, and I'll run through the key findings there. Boise youth consistently highlight the importance of recreation, the outdoors, and creative expression as core parts of their well-being. It's probably no surprise to anyone in this room that recreation and the outdoors are cited by young people and parents as some of the city's strongest assets, with parks, trails, and waterways serving as daily touch points for many young people. However, rising costs and hyper-competitiveness in organized sports, particularly as kids become teens, create participation barriers, especially for low-income families. The older you get, sports leagues are increasingly only available for those who can play at an elite level and for those who can literally afford to pay to play. Additionally, seasonal challenges like winter weather and fire season limit outdoor options, and indoor recreation can be expensive. One interesting finding was that youth are strongly interested in having more creative opportunities, especially in art, music, and theater. Young people look to art and music as vehicles for self-expression, exploration, and community connection, underscoring the need for more accessible arts opportunities. But access isn't equal. Some schools and neighborhoods have great programs, while others have very little, and parents point out that these gaps usually come down to the differences in funding and community resources. Youth also express a strong desire to contribute to their community. Many want to participate in service, leadership, and civic decision-making. Parents also echo those desires, noting that they want their children to grow into confident, independent, engaged adults. Overall, young people are looking for more structured and informal avenues to build purpose and agency in their everyday lives. Education is another major area of note, with academic pressure emerging as one of the most significant stressors in Boise youth. Students report facing expectations from families, peers, and institutional systems focus heavily on performance. Engagement levels are high in the young years, elementary years, and then they dwindle and drop sharply in high school. Many youth question the relevance of their coursework in their future lives and goals, and young people consistently call for learning experiences that meaningfully feel meaningful and are hands-on and are connected to real-world application. And when it comes to work and service, young people view employment as more than just earning money. They see it as a pathway to independence and skill building. The city of Boise employs a growing number of teens, nearly 200 seasonally this year alone. Think camp counselors and lifeguards at our pools. However, many young people still face barriers such as age restrictions, lack of transportation, and reluctance from employers to hire youth. Similarly, teens express strong interest in service opportunities, but organizations often lack the capacity to create youth-friendly, well-structured volunteer roles. And this gap limits the teens' ability to contribute and grow in ways that they find meaningful. And finally, social connection and belonging are central to youth well-being. It's not all young people feel supported. And I think, as many of you know, social isolation is an epidemic in our society generally, especially among youth. And Communities for Youth data shows that the more socially isolated Boise youth are, the more clinically depressed they are. So while some people and Boise youth have trusted adults outside their family, a significant majority do not. Highlighting the importance of mentorship and supportive community relationships. Youth rely on informal gathering spaces like coffee shops, parks, and neighborhood hangouts, but these locations often come with a cost or accessibility limitations. And young people consistently express a desire for safe, welcoming, teen-friendly spaces where they can build relationships, express themselves, and feel a genuine sense of belonging without excessive oversight. So the recommendations in this section, the first in the bucket of access, the recommendations for the city of Boise and community partners is to implement sliding scale fees across all programming, expand neighborhood-based programming, and support culturally responsive programming and multilingual outreach to ensure refugee and immigrant families can access youth programs and services. In the arts and recreation space, supporting the creation of more free art classes and programs, expanding access to sports and arts recreation by integrating materials into existing parks, libraries, and community spaces, expand rec sports that emphasize skill building, teamwork, and community over competition, support adaptive recreation opportunities for youth with disabilities, and address seasonal gaps by supporting year-round recreation options. In the employment and workforce development space, the recommendations are to support the development of youth-specific job training, job boards, and placement programs that address barriers to teen employment, coordinate apprenticeship and internship programs, support career and technical education programs, and address teen employment gaps and stakeholder staffing shortages by connecting youth with these opportunities. In the civic engagement and service space, the recommendations include supporting structured volunteer opportunities, mentorship pathways, and civic engagement programs that foster youth sense of purpose and self-efficacy, support and encourage youth-led service initiatives that allow them to serve their community while learning how to plan and execute a project, and consider offering longer-term volunteer opportunities that allow youth to learn and contribute over time. Organizations are often reluctant to train volunteers if they know that they're only going to serve for a limited period of time. So investing in those longer-term volunteer opportunities. In the education and learning space, supporting more intergenerational programming that connects youth with trusted adults and mentors, support project-based learning initiatives that link academic content to real-world problems and community impact, and support digital literacy and responsible technology use programs that help youth navigate online spaces and use technology safely and productively. And then for our community partners in the education and learning space, integrating stress reduction strategies into schools to balance academic rigor and student well-being, and to expand the community schools model where schools serve as hubs, pairing academics with wraparound supports. Lastly, infrastructure. Boise's youth generally feel safe in their neighborhoods, and this sense of security combined with outdoor spaces creates natural opportunity for gathering and connection. I think that's a remarkable thing that almost 100% of youth who responded to our survey said that they feel safe in Boise. Parks in the Greenbelt and downtown areas already serve as informal community hubs where young people can spend time and interact with each other. And these assets form a strong foundation for fostering community belonging across the city. Despite these strengths, many families still feel a sense of disconnection. Parents frequently share that they feel isolated or solely responsible for creating community for their children, noting that previous generations relied more heavily on shared support systems. And this disconnect affects youth as well, limiting their chances to build relationships with trusted adults and reducing opportunities for mentorship. Teens and parents express a strong desire for neighborhood level spaces to help build a neighborhood identity and a sense of belonging where they live. Teens want local hubs and distinct community identities across different parts of the city, while parents also emphasize the need for more neighborhood associations, localized community centers, and informal third spaces where people can relax and connect in their own neighborhoods. Transportation, interestingly, emerged as the single most common barrier to youth accessing opportunities in Boise. Parents report challenges getting their children to activities, often feeling like full-time drivers or chauffeurs due to limited public transit options. And many also express safety concerns related to major roads, especially for youth who bike or walk, which can further limit independence and access to social or recreational opportunities. Overall, while Boise's infrastructure has strong physical assets that support community connection, teens and parents see clear opportunities to strengthen neighborhood identity, expand accessible gathering spaces, and improve transportation affordability and convenience to ensure all youth can connect with other people and more opportunities. So the recommendations in the infrastructure section are to improve transit accessibility and awareness by expanding programs that provide free or reduced cost youth transit passes to all teens and youth, address safety concerns and navigation barriers that prevent teens and youth from using transit independently, expand safe biking and walking infrastructure near schools and neighborhood destinations, expand bike access programs and safety training to teens and youth who lack equipment, and explore resource sharing models to coordinate transportation for specific events. As far as the distribution of programming across the city, the request from parents and teens was to distribute more programming in neighborhoods and to support neighborhood fixtures, schools, libraries, recreation centers, as wellness hubs. And lastly, third spaces and social infrastructure. The recommendations are to support the development of youth-friendly third spaces throughout Boise neighborhoods and create intentional infrastructure that brings neighbors together across cultural, economic, and social differences. I want to mention that a large section of this report is an inventory of everything our city does, our city departments do, and city staff do to currently serve youth. It's a deep dive into how these departments are across the city supporting youth through a broad and intentional network of learning and enrichment and community building opportunities. It's extensive. There's incredible work across the city in every city department, supporting youth well-being, learning, creativity, safety, and career exploration. There are thousands of enriching experiences each year through classes, camps, field trips, free community events, grant opportunities, inclusive programs, mentorships, internships, and seasonal employment. You can find the complete list of all those department youth programs in the second half of the report. So as far as next steps, tonight City Council will consider a resolution that will adopt the goals and priorities of the youth roadmap and authorize city staff to begin implementation. Once that's passed, we'll begin the next phase of this initiative, In phase one, which is 2026, we want to work with Communities for Youth and other key partners to build on the momentum we've created over the last few years and grow that partnership. Both internal city departments and external partners will meet regularly in 2026 to identify existing and new projects that can advance the roadmap recommendations, and will build out capacity for network coordination and project implementation. And phase two will be a 5-year phase where we continually grow the network, maintain and execute new projects, and respond as a citywide collaborative effort to new and emerging trends among youth. And lastly, I'm really excited to end this presentation with an announcement of a new joint initiative that will help address one of the key gaps identified in the roadmap, which is affordable transportation. Thanks to the partnership between City of Boise, Blue Cross of Idaho Foundation, Communities for Youth, and Valley Regional Transit, all youth 18 and under will be able to ride the bus for free all summer long, May through August, for the next 2 summers. This builds on the incredible partnership that the Boise School District has with VRT to cover all high schooler fares year round. This is just an example of what the city can do in partnership with community organizations to make life more affordable for more Boiseans and to make Boise the best city in America to grow up. So happy to answer any questions you have.
Well, thank you, Garrett. This is really comprehensive. And I do want to start by thanking Councilmember Halliburton. When you first talked about doing something like this, what was it, a year and a half ago? It seemed like a great idea. Of course, I didn't expect us to go this deep and to have both the depth of resources that we already have available for young people, but then such great recommendations to help guide us, community partners, and others in how we can serve more young people in Boise, because it really is so important that people feel connected to this place. And that sense of connection then breeds and creates opportunities where people want to engage, and creates leadership opportunities, which creates more connection to each other and to the place. And I'm so really excited to see the steps forward, and do want to thank Blue Cross of Idaho, the Communities for Youth, and VRT for work with us on the summer bus program. Really, really excited about that. With that, I'll open up to any further comments you might have, and then after, any questions or comments from other council members.
Yeah, I would love to hear, questions or comments from other folks who haven't been as involved in the process. I will just maybe share a couple of experiences that I thought was pretty fun throughout the process. I got a chance to go to some of the youth focus groups. And one of the things that really stuck with me is that there are lots of wonderful and great things to do in Boise when the weather is really nice outside.
Yeah.
And then when all of a sudden it's really smoky, or if it's really cold in the wintertime, or rainy, a lot of those opportunities and those kind of natural gathering spaces that we have in the outdoors, really disappear, and people don't know where to go. And so one of the things I think that we asked during this process is like, well, what would you be looking for? Where would you want to go? And I think some of the input was someplace that we didn't get kicked out of, and maybe they would have some food. And so it was just very interesting, because a lot of the teens that were in this room, they weren't asking for a lot. They weren't asking for an outrageous amount of structure, an outrageous amount of programming. They were just looking for a space, to hang, to be with each other, to have discussions, if they were struggling with some mental health issues, to be around some other people that they might be able to talk about it with a little bit more. And it was just such like a good reminder of how simple some of these things can be, and how big of an opportunity there is if we're all as a community working together, as partners across organizations, nonprofit, for-profit, government, to address some of these concerns. And then one of the kind of fun things that happened not too much later is I got to go to Whitney Community Center's Thanksgiving dinner. The mayor was there as well. And we really got to witness just a very kind of informal, here's a place where you can be, nothing is expected of you. Come on in. We're not going to, check to see whether you are supposed to be here or not, whether you're still a student here, or whether you, left middle school and now you're in junior high or high school. This is a place where you're welcome, and a place where you can be. And that was a great reminder of the great things that this community is already doing. I hope that when you see some of these reports, you see some of the things that you're actively engaged in already, and maybe not necessarily an opportunity to do more, but an opportunity to figure out how we can focus and do better, and be working together to expand some of these opportunities or to create some of these long-term plans to address some of the gaps that we're seeing, by combining our services, by focusing our services a little bit more, by maybe addressing some of the barriers that youth are facing when they're getting into these. And again, a good reminder of how great of a place Boise is for youth, but how big of an opportunity we have to, do just a little bit better. So again, I want to thank everybody who was so involved in this process. And again, looking forward to any questions or comments that our folks have. And really looking forward to working with our staff and our partners as we get to more of the implementation phase of this.
Madam Mayor, I first heard from the Communities for Youth group through my work through the Downtown Boise Association a few months ago when they came to talk to local businesses about how to provide that additional third space especially for our youth. And so since I heard that, I've been, carrying that lens with me as I visit local businesses. And I think there are some Hyde Park does a really good job of that. Dutch Brothers does a really good job of that, where you often see a table of students, working together, hanging out, and there's like one drink between them. But those businesses don't mind. They're happy to have the space provided for these students. And it's become, I've started to pay better attention to how important that is. And I know that for us, we talk about third places all the time, and to have that lens specifically for youth, I think is really helpful. I then got to meet with the Communities for Youth folks again today to go through their data report. And I'm really amazed at how well what the data showed is represented in the recommendations that you all brought to us. It really checks a lot of the boxes of things of, how creating community for youth leads towards better self-esteem and, less likely to be bullied and less, it just like checks all these boxes. And whatever I think that we can do as a city, but also even just to raise that platform for our community to have insight into and put a light on for those parents and those community members. And even like having access to trusted adults outside of the home, what role that plays in development and confidence and decision making. And I think that all of these opportunities that you're presenting lead towards that ultimately, whether it's the extended volunteer programs, whether, whether it's those meeting spaces, community centers, things like that. I'm really impressed with the way the recommendations align with the data that I was able to go through with Communities for Youth today. So thank you so much to the staff for that, for the detail on that. And thank you to Councilmember Halliburton for pushing this forward.
Madam Mayor. Yeah, this is wonderful. I'm so appreciative for my council member, Jimmy Halliburton, for bringing this up as a strong initiative for us to pursue. I think it was about a year ago, I attended a Communities for Youth conference here where they were sharing out their latest data that they had. And one of the things that struck me, Graham, as you mentioned, is that not being able to have that access outside and that isolation from maybe not having a parent or an adult that they can rely on outside of their parents really hit a light bulb for me, because even as a parent with a youth, it just struck me how much am I reaching out to her friends coming over, and it just put that emphasis of what we can do and the small things we can do to ask kids, how are you today, and look at them in the eye and listen for them with non-judgment. I am just overwhelmed with this. This is just absolutely wonderful. I mean, we need to have the data first to see where, and we need to hear from the youth. You guys are important to us. You matter, and you're the next leaders here. And we're so excited for you, and we want to build you up, and we want to support you, and we want to provide these opportunities for connection. I haven't been thinking about third spaces as much recently, but it is really ingrained in my mind as I go through our community centers or looking at our hubs. I like that idea of we need these in our districts. We need them in our neighborhoods for people to have a place that they can easily walk to and meet. I see a lot of youth at parks. And when the weather changes or it's not very comfortable to go walk down there, meet friends, we need that alternative space. So I just want to extend my gratitude for everyone who's been involved with this, for your time and your input. This provides us with a lot of guidance on how to continue to build and support our youth in the community. Thank you.
And Madam Mayor, just want to extend my gratitude as well to everyone that's participated in this, everyone that's here, but I know there's so many others that aren't here that participate in this process to help create this roadmap. And just want to thank you, Garrett, and all the rest of the staff that have brought this together. And it's just going to plant a lot of seeds. There's a lot that's going to come out of this. It's already seems so in depth, but thank you, Councilmember Halliburton, for helping push this and thinking about that as we look through this lens. There will be so much that comes out of it. I think I just wanted to make a few comments. I appreciated the focus on third places and places to be, and we've talked about this. I think I keep mentioning it, and I'm sorry, broken record. I love our park score, and it's really high, but our indoor recreation score is really low on that. We'd be even higher ranked than 20th if we had more spots like that. And I appreciate our Parks and Recreation Department for all that they're doing, the spaces that we do have, but those opportunities to find those spaces to be able to provide those in the months and the weather conditions that don't work too well for hanging out. And then I am super excited about Valley Regional Transit's partnership here and the summer bus passes. We've got some staff in the back there. I want to thank you for being present in this conversation. Public transit is brings so much freedom to so many different types of people, and specifically youth is one of those. That is it's a safe and affordable way to be able to get around our city, their city, and in many of our neighborhoods we have some decent access here in the city limits of Boise. I've spent a couple of years outside of those city limits, and you couldn't go anywhere without a vehicle. And so grateful for the service that's rendered with that access and the ability for youth to be able to start using this if they haven't used it already. It can be a cultural shift. What's it like to ride a bus if you've never ridden one before? And I'm excited to hear about their experiences. It's been fun to see some of the sessions where they've taken youth on their first bus ride, and this is how you get on a bus, and this is where it takes you. So looking forward to that. And then I really appreciated the point about how our youth want to be involved and make impact, and they can make such good impact at a point in their life where they may want to just get older and get a job, but there's so much freedom to be able to choose the things that you want to do as a youth and focus on the things that you can make impact through service. And we are, as we've noted in the back corner there, we are a global Just Serve city. There are so many wonderful organizations here that are ready to have our youth and all of us get involved in. And as part of that, we can also have Just Serve student clubs. So at a recent conference that Councilmember Corliss and I went to, they talked about that opportunity. I think we have a couple in the Valley, but opportunities like this are growing throughout the nation. We're seeing youth wanting to lead in these ways and make significant impact in their communities. So interested to see how we can connect more on that. Just thank you again for all the work that has been done in this.
All right, great presentation. This is just the first beginning was beginning to work on this. The second beginning is now is working in partnership with each and every one of you to implement where we can. So really look forward to the work together to serve young people in Boise in the months and years to come. Thanks everybody for being here. Really appreciate it. And thanks, Garrett.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I might call an audible here since we've got so many great partners here in the audience and we've got something to hold up. Maybe we can do a quick photo. People in front of the dais. Is that all? Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on up.
Or wait, do we want to do, is it easier for us to stand in front of them?
Yeah, we can go. Yeah, you stay there. We can. Come
You
down.
guys, we'll stand, everybody can stand up and we'll stand in front of you. That'll be a lot easier. And then somebody can take it from up here. Whoever's going to take this picture. We can move that desk. Does that work?
Lindsay, you're too slow. All right.
All right, everyone on this side, if you want to condense a bit more this way. All right, so you're on the end over here. So anyone out farther than you is out. And then you're on the end. Garrett, you're about to be on the end right there. Perfect.
Okay, ready? We'll take a couple. 1, 2, 3. Woohoo! Youth on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Woo! Thanks, everyone. Oh. Well, I guess none that had
But I love like how you know so yeah. Yeah, it's so hard. This is a good first step, and I'm really excited yeah. You know, I have been trained by themselves.
I guess we should have had you go first, Travis, so you'd have an audience also. Sorry.
It's fine.
All right, one more item. Travis is with us to give I'm going to say review, but really an overview of our property tax rebate program for next year, because we're entering that season where we'll soon be sending out applications to folks. And you're here to share with us some more of the details.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So Lindsay will go over a lot of the details of the
Great.
plan
Okay.
itself. And probably accurately said, this will just be a recap of what the program is. So in 2022, the state legislature passed HB 550, which allowed us to provide property tax rebates to our citizens. Is this coming through all right? Okay. There's a few things that we have to spell out in the ordinance. The ordinance, by the way, will be on the reading calendar during the 6 p.m. meeting today. But the things we have to spell out are the amount we budgeted for it, when applications are due, which, as Lindsay will cover, is at the end of March in 26, several other kind of administrative details. And for the fourth consecutive year, we've taken advantage of the provisions of HB 550, and we are offering this rebate to our citizens that qualify based on participation in the state's property tax reduction program. The vast majority of that's typically known as the circuit breaker. The key thing that I would like to point out is that the only other qualification besides submitting an application is that you have to pay your taxes by the end of June. And so that is a key deadline that unfortunately some people do miss, but it's worth pointing out that it's important that people get those taxes paid on time.
What percentage of folks that are eligible don't fall ineligible because of this?
Last year, I think that there were 30 applicants that didn't, and of those, 18 didn't even pay the taxes, whether this year and probably in prior years
So
too.
it's 12.
And so it's really 12 that just paid late, and because of that, they missed the opportunity to get the rebate.
Okay. And we're talking, how many people?
1,500.
Yeah. So it's a small, okay. All right.
Round numbers are the total recipients are about 1,500.
Great. Thank you.
I'm getting a whisper that's 2%. So at any rate, the requirements are that you basically be a circuit breaker recipient, which have income caps, which has limitations based on the value of your home, and other things, disability or age status, things like that are also requirements. The only other thing worth pointing out that is a little bit of a change from prior years is, so for the first 2 years of the program, we offered it to, again, circuit breaker recipients. Last year in fiscal 25, we also allowed people that offered in-house childcare services to claim a $500 rebate. Because the city is no longer allowed to permit childcare providers and the state took over that responsibility, unfortunately, that means in 2026, we're not going to be able to offer rebates to childcare providers. Here are some stats on the program over the years, excuse me. In 25, the only thing I really want to point out is that the information related to the childcare providers is in parentheticals, but all the other information is presented just for the kind of the core circuit breaker group that's been eligible every year. And so you can see, as we were just briefly alluded to earlier, about 1,600 people are eligible every year on average. About 1,500 people get it every year, which is about a 93% participation rate, which is, I think, fantastic, with an average payment of just about $500 last year. And then the program for this year, again, we've allocated $900,000 for the rebate program, which based on current estimates would be enough to cover 100% of people that are eligible to participate in the program. And with that, I will turn it over to Lindsay, unless there are questions for me. Oh, one other thing I do want to point out is Lisa Owens has done a heroic job of getting this program off the ground from a DFA perspective. She took it from 0 to 100 with really overseeing all the administrative details and has done an outstanding job. So thank you, Lisa.
Well, and I should point out too, that administrative details, if I remember correctly, also involve fielding calls from people with their applications and getting to know people in new and different ways, and do really appreciate Lisa's work on this too.
Oh, that's great. We get better and better each year. Yeah. Madam Mayor, Lindsay Mosier here with the Office of Community Engagement, just to go over our communications and outreach plan for the property tax rebate. Again, kind of a recap and schedule as follows. So this is our 4th year that we've provided this tax relief to eligible Boiseans, and we'll continue, next slide, with our targeted outreach strategy to reach the most amount of Boise residents who qualify. Our tactics remain effective and are outlined above. First thing is that we do direct mail pending approval from tonight. We send out letters with applications that go directly to folks who qualify starting tomorrow, again, pending approval tonight. We follow up with 2 postcard mailers that we send directly to residents, and then we get into the canvassing as well. We do have that City of Boise landing page. It's kind of the central hub that provides information. We send folks to the senior center. Last year, we kind of had an influx of folks that wanted to come to City Hall to physically hand their application. So we've kind of got a better system to make sure we kind of give that extra level of care to residents who just want to hand over their application to a physical person. And we are happy to do so every year. The timeline, like I said, is we'll send out a press release reminding folks that we are doing this program again. Letters will be sent out immediately. Our website will be updated with updated deadlines and the application, where they can get help, etc. We'll send those 2 reminder postcards, one in January, one in February. Those just go to folks who have not turned in their application yet. So we're not duplicating any efforts there. And then in early March is when we will plan to go canvassing again. One of the things I want to highlight is the amount of resources and staff that we really spend. That's a testament to our commitment as City of Boise employees, from printing the letters and applications from the print shop, organizing the folks to go in pairs, arranging schedules to block out several hours to do this. We have folks who map out the routes to make it as most effective as possible and timely. Emily and PDS is amazing. So it's really a group effort that I just want to shout out all staff at the city. Last year, we had over 22 staff and city council who went out door knocking on over 300 doors to get us that final 93% last year. So super appreciative of everyone that commits to this program for us to have such a high success rate. So with that, Travis and I will stand for any questions.
Well, I want to thank you both and your teams as well for all the work that goes into this. This is, I believe, a great example of where the city had an opportunity, a way that we could deepen our commitment to affordability and impact people that really need help on a monthly basis with this. And you all help create it, and really appreciate the work that goes into it, and love it at canvassing season to hear the stories of staff, and done it myself, and to hear stories from council about the conversations they've had at the door. And then you really do get a sense of the impact that this has on Boiseans around the city.
Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thanks to all the staff that puts in so much work on this. We love door knocking, and it's even more fun when people are excited to hear from us on this. So this is one of my favorite times of year. And we were just chatting when we saw that this was next up on the work session about I'm so proud of our city for the effort that they put into this, that this is something that we really not just offer to residents, but really follow through to be sure that we're getting as high of compliance as we can. So thank you so much for all your work on this, and look forward to March knocking season again.
Madam Mayor, you said property taxes and the room cleared out. So it's it feels very empty now. Just wanted to ask, are there other cities in Idaho doing this yet?
You must have read my mind, because I was thinking I wanted to mention that, but that's another kudos to Lisa. She didn't have a template to work with how other cities have done it. To the best of our knowledge, no other city has done this in the entire state. So
has anyone ever reached out yet to get that template? Yeah. Okay.
I guess Lewiston has, and I think most people that have reached out have decided it's too difficult. So again, kudos to the city for making the effort to get it done.
We really appreciate all of that effort. It is it's great, and it, like Council Pro Tem said, we really appreciate the opportunity to be able to help for those that don't get notice of this other ways, to be able to knock on their doors. So hopefully we'll be seeing some of those folks in the coming months.
Madam Mayor. Thank you across the board. It is an unbelievable amount of work. I think it is incredible that the city of Boise takes the time to do this. And I do, feel for some of the other communities who want to do this, but may not have the same resources to go through the entire process. I wish that process was a little bit easier for some of those cities who maybe don't have as expansive resources as we do here at the city of Boise, and the folks that we're so lucky to have. But from the actual, the process of getting it going to actually going and knocking on those doors, and the organization at so many levels, it's a lot. And I think it's a lot because we're trying to get to every single person. So when you see it a 93% rate, I mean, that's phenomenal as far as the amount of people who are participating, who are eligible. But that only happens because of the extensive process, from the mailers to the door knocking to, making it possible for people who can come into the door and actually submit their paperwork in person. That's probably what I would do if I thought that I might be getting $500 from it. So I don't blame them for doing that. But I just want to recognize that absolutely tremendous amount of work that goes into this to make sure that 93% of people who are eligible get across that line. And I do appreciate the comment of making sure that there's that extra point of like people have to pay their taxes in order to get there, because that's something I think that's helpful even for me as a volunteer when I'm going on the doors, just to remind people that like, hey, if the average here is 500, it might be a little bit less, it could potentially be more, but like that is why it's so important, you know, get all these things submitted and ready to go. And again, the city makes it so easy for them to do it. So very proud that we're able to offer this program. And I hope that as we learn this process, there's that opportunity to, again, to see how we maybe can make it easier or work with the state to make it easier, you know, for other communities who have people who are, you know, struggling with some of the same challenges that our folks here, you know, in Boise are, as the cost of housing and property taxes, you know, have gone up over the years. So again, thank you so much.
Madam Mayor, yeah, I just want to echo the sentiments of the other council members, and thank you so much for standing up this program. It's a lot of work, stand up a new program to get the mailers to go out and organize the door knockings. But the payoff you have is that we're seeing is amazing. 93%, and these are our most vulnerable people, you know, in jeopardy of not being able to pay their property tax and losing their home. So thank you for your hard work. I had one question. Do we know or have an idea of that of the $500 that goes out to them, what percentage of that property tax it equals to? And I mean, I know it's an average.
Madam Mayor, council member Corliss, kind of a trick question. It's 100% of their city of Boise taxes, which I think on average is typically around 40% of the overall tax bill, 45%. So it's a pretty significant portion of their tax bill.
Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate
The
that.
$500, just to clarify, that $500 amount was that just for childcare, or was that for everything?
The numbers just happen to be very close.
Oh,
The
okay.
actual number I think was 489 for the property tax rebate for the circuit breaker, and
Okay.
500 for childcare. Just happened to be very close.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, I guess I should say we're done. Sorry. We'll be back at 6.